I set my alarm for enough time to like watch this, take notes, and work out, and then take a cold shower right before getting on here, because to record this I have to turn the AC off, and it's like 91 degrees here right now. So for those of you at home who are watching on video, keep track of how much I sweat as this episode goes along. Also, Lucy's chilling back here. She doesn't need a hoodie today because
she's over
plenty warm
already.
Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting For Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 6, titled Danger.exe, which we've said before that my Mac file system absolutely loves. I'm Rod, and I don't know, I'm surviving this heat wave is my... I'm grateful, though, that this is the first heat wave in 9 years that I've had, or 10 years that I've had air conditioning, so that's a saving grace. But then today specifically, I get to run up and down the PCH with the friend in not air conditioning, filming with the camcorder. So that'll be fun. The heat won't be. I'm bringing 2 changes of clothes.
Good luck to you on that. I am JC, and the reason we are recording earlier than we normally do is at the time of recording, I'm about to be driving down to San Diego Comic-Con, and Rod was willing to make the accommodation so we didn't miss the episode going live this week at our regular time. Quick heads up, if you are going to be in the North Hollywood area on Tuesday, August 4th, we're going to be doing a live version of the podcast. We have this new format that I've been hinting about. It's going to be at Moby's Coffee and Tea Company, which is on Burbank Boulevard. We will post more on our social media about it, but that is a thing we are doing. It is going to be tied to a X-Men art show, and there's going to be events happening around that for most of the first half of August. So
that's cool. I knew you said it was going to be a NoHo. I didn't know it was at Moby's. I know the owners of Moby's.
Oh, well, there we go.
They're actually very talented musicians.
I only found out it was Moby's when I woke up this morning. So
yeah, no, that's great though. They have great coffee. If you're in the LA area, you should go check them out. They're run by some very talented musicians that have a lot of credits under them. I'll leave out what they've done so that when you go there, you can ask them.
It's not Moby, just so we're clear, right?
Yeah. So funny you say that, because I was on set with our friends at Princess Rap Battle for their last video, which is Ariel versus Moana, which is live now. So you should go check it out. You'll see that I did playback that day. But it's because they're also friends with the owners of Moby. The coffee is catered by Moby's, and I guess one of the Moby's employees was just kind of casually talking during a lunch break to someone who didn't know that Moby's was a coffee shop, and she said like, yeah, so I don't know why Moby gave me control of their Instagram or whatever, and so for like a good 20 minutes during this lunch break, this other person thought that this woman ran Moby's social media, like the artist Moby's social media accounts. And we're like, yeah, you have to clarify that to people outside of this like subsect of Los Angeles.
Very specific circle in a very specific city in LA. Yeah. No, it's funny. I did meet Moby at a event at the YouTube space probably a decade ago now with my client, Run Aground. He was there, and we met Moby at that event. So
that's cool. And the two of us used to go to an annual party at his old mansion.
Wait, that was
not while he lived. Not while he lived.
I knew it wasn't he. Okay, I didn't know that was actually his place before the other person took it over.
That's what I was told. So
right, let's go with that story. Cyclops is Waiting For Me is our podcast series where we are going back and watching every single X-Men animated episode that we could find. This started back with the original 1992 X-Men the Animated Series, which was building up to the release of X-Men 97 Season 1. Since we've completed that, we've also finished X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men anime, and now we are back weekly for all of X-Men 97 Season 2.
And some quick reminders, we're a recap show about an episode that isn't even a week old yet. For us, this is literally like barely 12 hours old.
It's not even 12 hours.
There will be spoilers. If you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, watch the episode, and come back. Don't say we didn't warn you. We're currently not sponsored by or affiliated with Marvel Animation, Disney, or Disney Plus in any way.
And don't forget to follow us on Cyclops IWFM Pod on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook.
Today we're Well, today we're going to be talking about season 2, episode 6, titled Danger.exe, which I love that the implication is the Danger Room runs on Windows. It aired on July 22nd.
So much, actually, if it does.
Right. This is actually Cortana, right? It aired on July 22nd, 2026. Currently sits at an 8.8 star rating on IMDb. I have a heavy feeling a lot of that star rating is for the last, 30 seconds of the episode.
It's probably a 7.8 to an 8.2 for the first 25 and a half minutes, and then the last 90 seconds bumped it that extra star rating. It's also the most hardcore people because the average person has not watched it by the time this rating has. By the time we're recording, I would bet it changes within the next 24 hours or so.
Yeah, as soon as all those, once again, spoilers, as soon as all those Gambit fans get in there.
I may have adjusted our status on Instagram last night of somebody needs to check on Punker Ducky. So.
Nice.
And she had a horribly inappropriate response for it, so it's all on her, and she survived.
Before we jump into it, though, I'll point out, I don't know when in our hundreds of episodes we've had out, but I remember you telling me, I don't remember if you predicted it would happen in the show, but I remember you telling me about this storyline in the comics. Because, and I can't remember what the context was, but you were like, yeah, the Danger Room becomes sentient, and, basically Ultron. And so I was recognizing it as, it was happening in this episode. I was like, oh, this is that thing he was talking about.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't even in particularly tied to X-Men 97. It was just, one of those things where we were talking about robots or something like that, and I mentioned it. But yeah, this is a great story from the Astonishing X-Men run. I loved that era of the X-Men books. That was when I got back into comics after being on an 8-year hiatus and stuff. Despite the writer being a piece of shit, the Astonishing run is fantastic. Joss Whedon.
Who was the writer? I was going to ask if it was the Whedon run.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's tied to Joss, but the run is still amazing. And I don't think they get paid royalties off of trade paperbacks and stuff like that. So go buy it and read it and stuff. Read it on Marvel Unlimited, because I think it's probably way worse than even the Spotify royalties if you're reading it on there.
So the previously on was just kind of a smattering of the things touched on in this episode.
With Val Cooper's voice being the previously.
Okay, I didn't recognize her voice. And so it starts off with the initial Danger Room thing with Sunspot, which subnote, what happened to Sunspot? And
what happened to Wolverine? Neither of them is in the episode.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is happening the same time as last week's episode. That's
only can't reason. Because Morph is in it.
That's true. I don't know now. I don't know why that last episode happened.
It actually feels very much like the animated series 92. And that there's just multiple people who are just not there for no particular reason, because you're missing Sunspot, Jubilee, and Wolverine, in totality of this episode. They're only in the previously on. So,
but I guess I just mentioned Sunspot in general. I know we've seen him a little bit this season, but like you said, they just disappear. But he specifically, and now I know this is the Danger Room they were pointing out, but it looked like they were pointing out Sunspot because he was the one that almost got killed.
Sorry, we're both stupid. They haven't reunited with the team yet after the X-Force stuff. We have not seen what's happened with that. We're dumb.
Oh, okay.
They're still with X-Force and we're stupid, and
gotcha.
This is what happens when we record it at 11.
Yeah.
I'm going to blame it on
and then there's And then there's a bunch of flashbacks that between Xavier and Magneto that if you ever had any doubts, these two either did hook up or just need to whenever Magneto resurrects, inevitably.
It's a need to.
And then some Polaris highlights, because I don't think before this episode we got this much I know we had some backstory stuff with her in previous episodes, but this one is just her I don't know if I've seen this much of her personality.
It's every shot of her, basically.
Yeah.
They left out the stuff from the animated series, but they just gave us everything, every moment she's been on camera except for her playing dumb on the helicarrier. Everything else was her moments. So yeah.
And then the intro happened at this a surface level observation for me. I think the only thing I noticed was the X Factor being added in. to
X
the end
Factor
of the
being
intro?
added. Wolverine was brown suit, but with metal claws. They swapped the bone claws out for it. The Gen X kids, so Quentin, Penance, and Chamber, are now fully replacing the Jubilee former Sunspot shot of the fence, and they did put the that Super Sentinel on Genosha, the quick shot of that, but everything else was all stuff we've seen ordinarily. Yeah.
And then it opens up with the last scene from Rise of Apocalypse. I fully thought this was going to pull like an anime and just like bide its own time for like 5 minutes by just completely repeat, because it did completely repeat the scene. But then
yes,
and
but
then
for
it just,
a good reason.
yeah. But then, although I will argue, usually when I see scenes like that, it's like abbreviated. I guess that was just a call someone made. They were like, we need to see in its totality for this context. And then it repeated again. And I was like, oh my God, is this going to be a Groundhog Day episode?
And then it kept having like little like not glitches, but like going faster, hitting certain moments. You got the ant quote repeatedly and stuff like that. Repeatedly calling Xavier a failure. But yeah, you find out that he is in the danger room, and he basically keeps telling it to restart every time, and it starts to tweak just a little bit, and you see it kind of looks like what is it, HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Oh,
like
yeah,
the unit in the wall, which you find out is Danger observing all of it. So
yeah, and Xavier points out that Magneto should have survived because he would have been the one to figure out.
I save them both.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I like it, and it's also kind of frustrating that like I have this, and it's not that I dislike this episode. I like this episode, but like we have this suspension of disbelief that everyone's just kind of like oblivious, you know, they are just who they are in animated series like this. But at this point, Xavier seems to wake up to like real world common sense. We're like, yeah, being passive all the time literally will have its limits. Right. Like, for all the bad things Magneto's done, you have to give it to him that he had, you know, what's that, like an outcome, you know, showed results, you know. He
got results. They were not always the best results, but he got results, yes.
I mean, they were better than, like, being dead, you know, like. But, so he acknowledges that, and then he just keeps repeating, and then he almost gets curb stomped by Danger Room Apocalypse.
Yeah,
and he stops it.
They put that emphasis on the first one of how long the foot was on Xavier's face, and then on the last version of it, it was just like, oh no, I'm just going to slowly crush your head against the floor right now.
Yeah, and then Xavier corrects the Danger Room, saying like, the Danger Room essentially is like AI. This has to be a commentary on today's AI thing, because it's learning.
Yes. But it was doing that in 2000 as well. It was a different scenario, like not tied to but it was very much the evolution and danger of AI even before the present day. Yeah, totally.
I think it was the nuance of like what it cited its basis on, you know, because it sounds like stuff that ChatGPT would tell you. It's like, well, you did this, so I just assumed, you know. I
mean, it's been 15 plus years since I read that run. I will say that it has the same vibe as what I remember from it too.
Oh, nice. No. So, like, basically, the Danger Room says, like, well, because you repeated this so many times, like, it assumed that you wanted to ramp up the intensity of it, you know. And Xavier's like, this is not like a training thing. This is like for therapy. And he specifically says he wants to learn how to survive in a world without Magneto. And it's like, I guess he's just in his feels, but I don't know if that's something I would tell a literal machine with weapons that is literal. Like,
and I love that it's kind of subtle, but it's like, all right, cool, I got my new directive. Like it literally acknowledges like that is the directive, is survive without Magneto. So, and
it says, I noticed the second time around, it says specifically, I've corrected my directive for you and your students. It was like, that was a detail that he didn't put in. He didn't say. And then we cut away to this scenario where Polaris is stopping a ship smuggling vibranium weapons.
Did you know who everybody was in this?
Only them mentioning Reverend Stryker, which Reverend is an interesting choice.
So we've talked about Stryker in the past. Stryker got referenced in the end of season 1, where I believe it was actually JP who does the voice of Morph.
Yeah.
Doing the voice of the bigoted preacher.
Yeah.
But the Purifiers with Reverend Stryker are an ongoing storyline in there.
Gotcha.
Basically everything is we're doing this for God. Like, it is the ultimate version of that story. Executioner Carl Denty is the guy that has the slash across his face. So he has gone from Friends of Humanity, Executioner, gotten out of whatever jail he was in, and is now a Purifier. The other character, Sister Anne, according to the credits, I could not find her existing anywhere. I think she was just a generic, number 2 created for the show, as far as I could tell.
That's such an interesting... I'm going to word this carefully so that I don't get taken out of context.
As you're about to word that, think about what you want to say. Just crystal clear, because we were recording this, literally less than 12 hours after, and because Rod has stuff to do, I have to get on the road. We did way less research for Easter eggs and stuff like that in this, so feel free to correct us. We just didn't have time to do our diligence like we normally would. Sorry.
It's such an interesting... I didn't know that was Executioner. It's so interesting that his evolution, his story arc in this series is he becomes this universe's religious fanatic. And they're not painting a specific one-to-one to religion, but as someone who grew up in a very specific subset, I will say the reason that thing is interesting is if you think about one of a celebrity that's done, or even a YouTuber or something that's done terrible things and follow their trajectory into religion, it's not unlike what we saw.
It's McGregor. McGregor is doing that in real time. He's had all this awful stuff come out about him in the past. I mean, we've known he's been a bad dude for a while, but now all of a sudden he's and I found God, and it's this feels performative. This does not feel like you actually are doing it. Yeah. So, I mean...
I would say it's
reflects reality.
I would say it's even more... Because I didn't even know about the McGregor thing. I'm thinking about some other people that, we've interacted with that it's more than performative. It's kind of sheltering. From, it's well, if the creator of the universe forgives me, then I don't need it from you, Anyway, so that's my 2 cents about this thing. Is I love I can't wait to see where the Reverend Stryker thing keeps going, because this is a really interesting concept.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious how deep they will go into the Reverend Stryker stuff, or if they're going to have the Purifiers be a throwaway to get them into the show. I guess it really will depend. Do we get 3 or 4 seasons, or do we get 6 or 7 seasons out of this? That's probably what the determinant is.
And they're so fanatical in this series that we even see later on when Polaris almost just straight up kills them. They just receive it. Because it's, as once again, someone who grew up in something kind of similar, not that extreme, obviously, the ideal gets put in your head that martyrdom is the ultimate, honor or whatever, and it's not for that, not for that, dude. But I will say I loved when Polaris was hovering. I loved the whole Northern Lights kind of look around her. I don't know if I've ever seen her powers portrayed like that in the animated show, and it just was really cool. I just wanted to shout out whoever did that design. It looks great.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it previously because they didn't really go hardcore into her design and stuff. And was it season 4 of the animated series or season 5? I can't remember which season they fell in. And then she only had quick moments in this so far. So it really was, it was kind of the debut of her powers, so to speak.
Yeah, and so she kind of makes a spectacle of disarming their ship. And stranding the they call them the Purifiers, you said?
Purifiers.
And they keep provoking her to the point where I think it's being painted that she loses her temper, but the way that the actor portrayed it didn't seem like she lost her temper that bad. She was just kind of looking for half a reason, and then
it's
we'll
a little
see
bit
later
like her
on.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I guess that's a good point. It's supposed to parallel that. But I was going to say, we'll see in a couple more scenes here that, it almost feels like she just kind of was trying to get fired, too. I don't. So that's part of what I thought might be kind of part of the plan.
it started to feel like that at the end of the X-Force episode too, where she's like, "Oops, I don't know what happened."
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so obvious. You were the one that let them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she almost kills the purifiers because, like, she literally splits the ship in half and then shoots it at them. Havoc saves the day. Before that moment, we didn't really realize that she wasn't there alone.
Yeah.
So he saves her. The rest of the X-Force come in and kind of like...
Well, because Cooper
finished the mission.
was saying it was supposed to be covert. So
Yeah.
I guess if... here's the thing. I don't know how you could be covert if you're going to pick up a massive shipping ship, like, in any scenario. Like, there's no way for that to actually be covert no matter what. So I blame bad planning and leadership on this one.
Yeah, and in the next scene, we see Dr. Cooper yelling at Polaris, watching the news reports. I was kind of curious to, like, why that was a problem, because, like, I know they said we didn't want to make a spectacle of it, but, like, were they... I don't know yet, maybe they'll have a reason for this later, why they wouldn't want the public to know that Polaris did that in disarming, like, a vibranium smuggling thing, Because that feels like a justifiable reason to split a ship in half, Like, if you find out there's, like, illegal stuff being toted,
So what they did, which is like one of the problems I always have with like movies or cartoons, is the shot that was shown that made it to TV was shot from the perspective of a purifier, even like on the deck of the ship. So it's like it has that perfect camera angle, which is already another shot from the show, but it's in the scenario that, like, when it's distributed appropriately, you're giving the misinformation of she attacked our ship, and like the public sentiment, even if it's wrong, is still going to be like, oh, well, yeah, that big, powerful mutant attacked a ship, and then was so strong, picked up a ship and threw it at them. Like, it's automatically, like, public opinion is fucked on it,
It kind of makes me wonder, because we had discussed this, like, in previous episodes, that in animation, most things are pretty intentional because of how they have to be planned. That maybe it's going to come back later that the media in this universe is like Purifier or Friends of Humanity sympathetic, because like they've already put the breadcrumbs, because Trish still has like the scar that she's allowed to be back at her job after that stuff, and now this kind of spin, because if the government is running this operation, it feels like they would have the power to dictate the story. Even if it wasn't true, they could just say like she was disarming some illegal weapons, but it is in the way we saw it.
But also remember, like, this is a scenario where 6 to 8 months prior, we don't know the exact time frame, but assume it's 6 months since E-Day, her dad, who they don't know it's their dad, but a mutant with matching power, shut down the entire world and killed thousands, if not millions.
Yeah.
So,
no, I get it, but I don't know. It's
I agree with you. I'm just explaining why Cooper has.
Did I miss something where like X Factor is like not publicly known? Or I assume that they were, because they're...
No, they are publicly known, because there was the episode where they were they showed them on the news arresting Chamber.
Yeah, so I just would have assumed that they would have tried to paint it as like, oh, look, X Factor's doing their job. The ship was I don't know, but I'm assuming that this is going to come back later.
I think you said it like Polaris was looking to get out and looking to get fired. I think after the X-Force events on this helicarrier, that Cooper was looking for a more formal excuse to get rid of her too.
Gotcha.
I think Cooper was like, you just question authority just so much that I could say you're insubordinate, that the team will agree with my decision.
Yeah.
Because basically outside of Multiple Man, Strong Guy and Wolfsbane were on that other ship watching it all happen. So and so Dr. Cooper fires Polaris. We kind of find out through, I don't know if we found, I found out or just remembered through this interaction that Senator Kelly had like outlawed X-Men activity specifically. No, that was the first time we had heard that formally.
Okay. And
it's like you knew stuff was going on because of X Factor being a thing, but saying that the X-Men have been outlawed, that was new information.
And then in the locker room, which in this universe, go progressiveness for 90s is co-ed. And so her and Havoc kind of have, I guess a breakup, it feels like.
I just wrote Havoc sucks.
Yeah. I mean, he, like, what do we say? Like, knockoff Cyclops. So he's trying to be the Cyclops of this group by being loyal, but
but being loyal to the wrong side.
Yeah, and so Polaris points out, like, you used to like my impulsiveness, and this, because I've grown up watching Saturday morning cartoons, is like, oh, so her impulsiveness is what is going to save the day, right? That's the whole point of this setup. Because I don't know if we were really had the impression before this episode that she was maybe the last episode, but in the original series, I don't know if we ever got the idea that she was impulsive.
No, all we know is she broke up with Bobby, who had the stable job, to go for Havoc. But then Havoc is also the guy who has the government job, so it's not exactly impulsive. She just didn't want the boring guy.
Yeah, who's also, like, I guess depending on where they go with Bobby in this series, like, might not be out yet, but she knew. Because she was...
Yeah, I mean, I do hope that we do get the Bobby coming out story. But I don't even know if we're going to get Bobby referenced this season, because all the trailers... Like, everybody thought that the impression was Bobby died on Genosha, and that's why Polaris was freaking out. I think we've hit the point where that is not going to be the case for Bobby, that it was just her having memories of the original team.
Yeah, and also, like, there's too many characters right now anyway, so we gotta, focus.
We still have to get Magic and Colossus. Like, we still know those characters are coming.
And only 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
So Havoc's like, do you have a place to go? That's the reason I thought, like, they broke up, because if she doesn't have a place, or whatever. So she mentions, like, there's a place for strays to get back to. I'm like, I knew it as soon as she says, like, cut to rebuilding the X-Mansion. Someone out there who's a bigger nerd has done a tally how many times this specific continuity of X-Mansion has been rebuilt. Because I guarantee
hilarious. There's got to be a Reddit thread, which is every continuity that exists, and each time the mansion has been rebuilt on it. So
yeah, it's
guaranteed
so funny.
that exists. Yeah.
So she goes into the mansion that's being rebuilt. It for some reason seems like it's abandoned. Maybe it's alluding to what happens a little bit later. But she's walking through. She sees a picture of Xavier and Magneto. I guess it's kind of a reminder that her dad was friends with her biological father, was friends with her, like, functional father, like best friends or whatever. And we haven't gotten to that part yet.
You did jump a little bit. So as you see the Institute,
the Xavier's talking to the new kids, the students, which I like this, because I think we've said a few times, like, have we seen this be a school yet? And this feels like the beginning of being a school, because they're not allowed to.
This is the first time it actually feels like a school. Yes.
Yeah, because they mentioned they're not allowed to do X-Men activity, but he can run a school, and he actually specifically points out, he has all the adult X-Men up there, implies they're going to be professors, but specifically points out that Storm is going to be the headmistress, which is like, they're righting all the wrongs of the movies. Like, she looks right, she has the right attitude, she's going to run the school, and then he simulates, like, a sentinel attack, and you find out that they're in the danger room, which I love this trope. It's like anything something crazy happens, like, it's a danger room. Like,
so I do want to point out, we did get a few new mutants that were not in the holding cells in the X-Force X Factor episode. There is the brain in the jar. That is No Girl.
Okay.
You have the shark next to her. That is Shark Girl. And then, because I don't want to fuck it up, the green blobby thing, that is Dupe, who is from the X-Statics is the character, and they're very much like they're almost like a, not Mr. Mixie-Plixix from DC, but like they go beyond the borders of the comic. So, like, they're kind of like not a Deadpool or a She-Hulk, but they have similar, like, vibes to that. They also don't speak English, so
nice.
Yeah.
And so
then Boom is there, which I was happy about.
Oh, nice. There you go. He's your girl. And then that's when we see Lorna walking around the mansion.
Yes.
And she ends up, after all the stuff I just said, she ends up in her old room, which apparently they've kept for several years.
Okay, so I do have to point this out.
It's like a teenage punk girl's room.
how does that room be the one that survives everything? Because they're like,
I didn't think about that.
They're like, well, we kept it. Professor wouldn't let us change it, and it's like, you've lost the mansion multiple times since she left. So this has been 92 to 97. So it's been at least 5 years and multiple destructions, but Lorna's room has survived somehow.
Yeah. I would like to think that what they meant by that was like they have like meticulous records of how everybody's setups were. And they just recreated it.
Or they have like an offsite storage unit that like, cool, these were the posters Lorna bought. So we just have like a tube of 10 of each poster because we know we're going to keep losing this room. Yeah.
And we see some pictures she looks at. It looks like the OG team and like her and Bobby and stuff. But it's just supposed to be like
the trio. There's the trio with her, Storm, and Jean like as a like friend group too.
Which I think like that seems like a not a retcon, but kind of like a hey, they were friends. I was like, I don't know if I've seen that. It's kind of like when Storm and Jean were besties last season. I was like, okay.
Whereas in 92, it was very much a like Rogue and Storm were tighter, and then all of a sudden, like Jean and Aurora are calling each other sister. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so they double down on that because Jean finds her in her room, and it was like we told, like you said, Professor Xavier not to change the things. Jean, Beast, and Cyclops are all there to like welcome her. They kind of take turns, you see an old friend after a while. I do like how they have no.
Oh, go for it.
I love how there's no question about what she's done.
I love that Beast is wearing the Howard the Duck shirt again.
Oh, I didn't even notice. That's so funny.
Yeah, he was wearing his awful, like, the shirt from 92. And then I love how they keep implying that, like, Lorna is essentially the bad kid version of Scott because they're, like, calling her, like, teacher's pet, A+ student, all that kind of stuff. And she's essentially, like, pot calling the kettle black because he references her as, like, the teacher's pet and kiss ass. So
yeah, and she does say she calls him Slim, which is one of these like few references that like I only know because of people like you pointing that out to me. And I also realized, so it just put together, if he's wearing the Howard the Duck shirt again, next time we talk to the Leewalds, I would love that, or even Larry Houston, I would love to ask him if they kind of loosely base Beast on Neil deGrasse Tyson, because it feels like that kind of, like, I've been watching a lot of Neil's podcasts lately, and he's super smart, probably one of the smartest people right now, but also has like this really like nerdy sense of humor. So like it feels like Neil deGrasse Tyson would be the one to like walk into like a serious setting wearing like a Garfield or Howard the Duck shirt or something like that,
I will see if I could ask Larry that down at Comic-Con.
There you go.
He does have his booth set up there, which doesn't help the people listening because Comic-Con will be over, but I will try to ask him while I'm down there.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just seems like that, or maybe it was just a happy accident, or maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson's a big Beast fan. I don't know. Like it just, or maybe that's just the way smart people are. It's like at some you get to become like a Rick Sanchez, and you're like everything is pointless. We might as well have fun. I don't know. Yeah. And I love that they culminate this conversation of like, oh, it's good to have you again. It's like, yeah, but for what? We're literally back to where we started, and the world is less safe than ever. I'm like, that's not true. Yeah. Because I don't even know if she knows that they caused Apocalypse to become Apocalypse.
She knows nothing about the Apocalypse stuff right now. She has no fucking idea. But then she jumps over to talking to the professor, which is them having tea together, and then you go like a little bit more into like her like formally saying Magneto didn't raise me, you did. And
he was raising
like her
hell.
not wanting to be like in her dad's shadow. So
yeah, and so I'm glad I rewatched it this morning because like last night when I watched it, I blinked and just saw Reed Richards in the background jump roping with his arms to the kids and stuff. And this morning, it's because it happens so fast. It's like Morph turning into Mr. Fantastic. And so I watched that this morning. I'm like, God. Besides the last episode, they're just using Morph as a cameo machine. Like, so now I'm just sad for Morph.
Because he did Mr. Fantastic in season 1. I want to say.
Okay.
I think it might have been the battle against the Executioner. I want to say like that was where he like rapid fired like 6 things, but I could be wrong as to which one he was on it. They all just blend together at this point. But yeah, it was just like, well, let's remind people about the Fantastic Four. Also, because we just got our trailer for Doomsday. So
I was going to say, we'll probably talk about this more next week, because I'm sure after Comic-Con, Hall H, there's going to be some other crazy reveal. Because if they drop the Doomsday trailer before Comic-Con...
Yes.
I don't know. So, yeah, it kind of reminded me of the shot of Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, like, holding back Captain America's shield. It's like this subtle, like, arm stretching thing. And also, I think we all posted about it, like, Cyclops looks fantastic in the Doomsday shirt. Like, I don't know why it took 20 plus years. Like, James Marsden looks like Cyclops
Fox.
now. Yeah, no, I hate Fox. Like, and also, like, all the, you know, what I think of who directed all those movies and stuff, they ended up being who I thought they were. And like, they look great. Like, yeah, I don't know. I know there's been like a lot of, it's like really cool to like not like that trailer. It's whatever, you know, to be smart and stuff. I'm just excited. Like my little brother's favorite character growing up was Gambit, like most people's. And then now as an adult, you know, like for me and him, Shang-Chi is like just our hero. So to have like Gambit find Shang-Chi, like that this is like the ultimate dream of my little brother's like life.
This is literally you guys throwing toys at each other.
Yeah. And it looks badass. And Gambit doesn't look like a joke now. Like, he was great in Deadpool Wolverine, but everything was comedic. This looks like a legit fight. Like, I don't know, super excited.
Last reference to the Gambit fight before we get back to this show. He does a staff swing that literally looks like his ultimate in Marvel Rivals, too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And so he says he had hoped that a piece of Magneto was in his mind after he stopped him from the E-Day blackout. And I was like, man, they are leaning so hard into this Onslaught thing.
It's not an if. It's a when. I hope it's not this season, because we are doing a speed run of stories, and that was the biggest complaint people had about the last episode. It's gonna happen, and holy shit, they are just like pushing it right now. So
hammering it, yeah. So he says he's going to go to Genosha to try to reconcile his demons, and he wants Polaris to stay at the mansion to like kind of revitalize her faith in their mission by being with the kids, essentially, you know. Which I can kind of vouch for. Like, I think when I was younger, I thought that was like kind of like a dumb trope, but like now that I'm older and I work with like 20-something like musicians and creators and stuff, I will say, like, as cynical as I am, there have been times where like I've been like really like revived and like seeing their like not optimism's not the right like, but like the fresh eyes on everything, you know. Like I was hanging out with a couple big creators like last week, and they genuinely got me emotional and like, you know, like reflective of like when I was their age doing stuff. So I could see that being like therapy. It's like, you need to stay here with the kids and see like the hope that they have in their eyes.
But also keep in mind, and this doesn't get addressed because there's not time to, she arrested some of these kids.
I didn't think about that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
A bunch of these kids were in the X Factor holding cell, and maybe because they're like, you know, they realized when Jubilee let him out that Polaris was part of the reason why they got out, so there's probably a different level of judgment. But yeah, she did arrest some of these kids. So
they kind of we every once in a while we mention like this always has like a 5% anime feel in it. I feel this might be one of those things, because I don't watch anime, but I know ProZD does these parodies, and he has this one parody that I loved. It was like when the anime characters forgive the villain way too fast. You know, and he's like, well, I've learned my lesson and turned a new leaf. It's like, you're right, after, you know, killing my entire family, you had the right mindset, you know. So the Blackbird leaves. Storm, Forge, and Morph are welcoming Polaris back, because they stayed back with the
Storm
mansion,
and
the kids.
Forge. Morph is not.
Oh, yeah. Storm, Forge. Morph runs up and says, like, there's danger in the danger room. And we catch up with him in the danger room. Bishop doing CPR to one of the students and just blaming all the kids for doing something wrong.
So this is actually what I was alluding to, that I didn't want to spoil it in case it was going to be a moment that they used in the show. They changed what it was. In the original comic run of this, Danger had manipulated Wing to actually take his own life.
Oh, dang. That would have been dark.
And I understand why they didn't take that route, because you literally would have had to put a trigger warning at the beginning of the episode and stuff like that. But I knew, like, I was happy they still utilized Wing as like the inflection point for the story. But it was like, are they gonna have the how are they going to explain that the kid was dying? And I think the non-explanation was the safest way to do it. Of like, oh, they were in the danger room and something hit him way too hard and almost took him out. Because he's not a combat character.
I will say, like, there was a split second there. They did a good job writing this. I thought they were going to let the kid die in the show, and I was like, that would have been hard. Like, I don't know if I'm glad they did or didn't, but it's kind of like I have a friend that doesn't really watch superhero stuff, but she has like a trashy romance novel podcast, and like I knew because she tells me about them all the time. This secret babies and all that stuff. I was like, you should watch X-Men 97 back when season 1 happened, and she got to the Madeline episode, and she texted me. She was like, they hurt the baby. This show is for real. She's like, you always know the show is like going to be serious if they hurt a child, especially an infant. Right. And I was like, yeah, they gave him the mega disease, an incurable disease, and kind of drowned him, like dropped him into a vat. And she was like, I can't believe they did that. I was like, yeah, this is not a kid's show anymore. Like that ended season 1 after the second, third episode. And anyway, so Bishop is like yelling at all the kids. I love it because Xavier's exposition at this point like kind of makes sense. Not Xavier, was it Storm? It said like Bishop has never been a student. He's like literally off. He's like a feral cat,
Xavier.
right? Was it Xavier said that?
Oh yes, sorry. Storm does say that.
Yeah, I think it was Storm. And it's like Polaris is the one that was a student here, which to your point is kind of funny because also the officer that arrested all these kids, but at least she has the sympathy of like knowing like maybe there's other things that happen with the danger room.
Quick, did you notice Quentin Quire's shirt?
No.
His shirt is the Magneto is right graffiti.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I agree.
So they end up getting split up because a perimeter alarm goes off. Storm, Morph, and Forge go out front, and that's where Storm says to Polaris, like, just remember, Bishop has never actually been a child, basically, at this point. So, yeah.
So they go out there. As soon as like Polaris tries to take Wing out, the danger room just basically like evaporates all the doors, because at first it looked like they just seal them off, but then Polaris, like, I don't know, some sort of magic magnetic powers, like, oh, the room's reconfiguring.
It's the opposite of magic. It's actually science.
Well, kind of. I say that in the sense of like Magneto and Polaris, like the people with magnet powers in this universe, seem to just whatever magnetism needs to do, it can. It's like amplify psychic powers, do whatever to a black hole. It's like it's vague enough that it's like, sure, why not?
It's like you're explaining magnetism to the insane clown posse right now. Like, it's the magnets. What do they do? That's what it feels like right now.
Nice. And so the danger room locks them in. Almost kills them several different ways, like with like straight, like not even like simulations, like straight up like weapons out of the ceiling. Polaris and Bishop protect the kids. One of the kids, I don't know their power set, but takes over Polaris's like job of levitating Wing, because it's I like the detail of it being a different color, like aura.
If it was pink, it was probably Quentin, because he has telekinesis.
I think it was either pink or like that, like kind of iridescent, where like kind of rainbow change color or whatever. But
to be honest, I missed that. But if it was pink, then it was Quentin.
Yeah. Which is a nice detail because it makes sense, because Polaris is like dealing with like sussing out the room and stuff. Like I don't know how many like things she can like handle at once. And then I like the danger room starts talking, and I love that the danger room straight up goes for like mustache twirling villain voice. And
it's the same voice actor, by the way. It is Rachel who does computer.
Yeah.
Same voice actor.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And I love the idea that like maybe there'll be a heavier explanation for it later because of like the darkness in Xavier's mind or whatever. But I love so far in this context, it's just like, okay, you don't want me to be nice, and this just turns the bitch switch right on. Like,
so I actually do. My theory is kind of that it's. Danger was so used to just like straight up fights, but by exposing because it implied that Danger is able to feed off of their memories. That's how it is able to recreate the scene with Apocalypse. That's how it's able to create this future scene from Bishop's memories. I think the memories, because it's evolving, it starts learning from them and bleeding into its personality. It's kind of like the worst form of exposure therapy, that the more it's around awful shit, the more awful it becomes. So,
and like, as an outsider who'd never heard the Danger story before, this really kind of came across as like a feminine presenting like Ultron. Because you were saying
that was actually the phrase that triggered the original explanation of Danger to you, was a feminine presenting Ultron. It was the master mold from Wolverine and the X-Men.
Oh, gotcha.
Because remember, it was a feminine master mold.
Yep. And so
we did it. We did full circle.
Nice. And so, like, because to your point, like, Ultron probably became evil because it absorbed like the totality of like the digital
internet.
Knowledge. Yeah, and it was like
it just went on Twitter for 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's a terrible place because like, what is that thing like? Before AI, like we know it now, was out when it was like in its early stages. They had to like shut down various models because like it just immediately became racist. Yeah, because like that's what the internet is. So now we have, like Ultron, the Danger Room, which I guess at some point now becomes just Danger because it's not a room, I guess.
Well, it's no longer a room. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it gets converted to a body, it's no longer a room.
Yeah. She makes herself a body. I love the headcanon that she's like, if I'm going to have a body, it's going to be hot. So she's like, I'm going to have hips and tits and, like, and then physically fights. But like, not to kill, because we see that like Storm, Forge, and Morph realized that the perimeter breach was like a fake out. And it just, to my surprise, this was not a commercial break. It just cuts to like Polaris opening her eyes to see Storm. And I do love, this is kind of like one of the Storm moments that I missed from the original series, where she's like, Storm, like, was that what happened? And then the camera zooms out and Storm points at a hole in the ceiling. He's like, oh, they stole our jet.
Yeah. Which I did. Also, quick little reference, the jet was the same mini jet from the episode with Rogue and was it Bobby was her boyfriend? The one who became a part of the colony.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that kid's name, but I know what you mean.
I think it was Bobby. But the jet was the same one that Wolverine had in that episode, where it was like the tiny one-person seater jet. Like, nice. It was that same one. So
that's the kind you would buy for your action figures, like in the real world.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So they established that it's going to Genosha, probably to find Xavier, and
they have to split the team because there's the people who are the school that cannot be involved. And that's probably why Wolverine isn't there, because he can't be a part of the school, because Lord knows he's not a teacher, especially right now with what he did last episode. So that's why Storm and Forge, as the head mistress and whatever Forge's rule is, don't go. But I'd imagine people just don't know about Bishop because he doesn't like have a social security number because he's from the future.
I was thinking about that. Like, how do they deal with like off-world, other timelines and stuff? Yeah.
He's just an undocumented mutant from the future is the honest answer.
I like that being part of this narrative.
Yeah.
And I remember though, like back when Xavier was talking to Polaris before he left, he did make a side mention to her that the kids had met Wolverine, so he's at least cameoed there at some point. Be like, listen, I'm part of this too. At this point, we don't know what the timeline's like because that last Weapon X mission happened.
There is something with the time frame right now that I don't know if we're ever going to clarify. I do think it's probably going to be like 92 or something like that, where there's just like an indiscriminate amount of time in between that some stuff happened off camera. And from like, I think originally the season was announced to be 10 episodes and it became 9. So there may be something with the timeline between 4, 5, which felt like a bottle episode, to this, that it feels like we lost a few scenes. I don't know if we lost a full episode, but we definitely lost a few scenes. So,
and so the X-Men can't go. So Bishop, the undocumented one, and Polaris, who I don't know if is officially part of the X-Men yet, can go.
I mean, she doesn't have a uniform.
Yeah. So they go. Then we catch up with Xavier in Genosha, where he's basically just there with Beast, Scott, and Jean, like kind of grieving.
Yeah.
Like, it's like visiting a gravesite. Doesn't look like a whole lot of progress has been made cleaning up Genosha. I guess maybe the last time we saw them, they were just getting bodies out, but they weren't working on, like,
that
anything.
was still just, like, ruins and searching for people.
Yeah. And then Polaris tries to warn them through their, like, I don't know what's it called, like a Pit Boy, you know, like a Fallout thing, but it's, like, cutting out, and it's like, danger, like, sentient, like and it kind of fails at warning him, but they know that something is coming, and then Danger is like just like kamikazing into Genosha, and I like that Scott gives up way too easily. Like, doesn't he shoot like one or two blasts? He's like, well, she's beat us.
She knows our shit. Yeah. And then Jean does the, like, well, she doesn't know all our tricks, and she does the Wolverine claws in front of his eyes thing.
Yeah.
That's a choice to do in front of your husband right now, right?
That's a discussion they're having later. That
led to such a fight.
And because of the way it happened, and what happened with, like, Madeline and Jean in the last season, I would not be surprised if that conversation actually does happen in the series, even if it's briefly. Because
like,
they
hey,
point
remember
out
the
things
time
like
you put Wolverine's claws in front of my face? Why'd you do that? Yeah, why'd you kiss Madeline? Like, that will be the thing.
And I feel like the power sets in X-Men are kind of like parallels to, like, sex in real life stuff, you know? Because, like, you know,
okay,
you ever that situation where
you don't get to say that and not move on.
Well, you're hooking up with someone, and then you're just like, where'd you learn that? Nothing. Like,
I like how that isn't even the proper response. It's, where did you learn that?
Yeah,
nothing.
Yeah.
All right, congrats, Ron. That's 100% the first clip that's coming from this episode.
Anyway,
can't wait to find the visual that goes with it.
And so Beast gives Xavier some magic device that he just waves away as science. Like,
well, the device is to control the jet. That's what it is. Because the first time watching it, I was like,
okay.
Because it was like new programming to like, so she doesn't learn your moves. I was like, but he can't reprogram her. It was Xavier hits that eventually, which uses the jet to smash into Danger. So
gotcha.
Again, watching it for the first time at midnight, not the most filled moment of my day. So, and
then she clarifies Xavier. It's like, I am just following my directive to teach you how to survive in a world without Magneto. Yep. And I'll have to start at the place of your greatest failure. And it's like, you're just mean at this point. But
she also ruins his very expensive chair and points out that she ruined it after it shot at him, or he shot at her with it. And then he has, like, this cool, like, escape sled. Like, is that, like, an appropriate way to call it?
Yeah, I didn't know that was in there. I don't know if that's ever been shown before.
If it is, I don't remember seeing it, but it was kind of dope.
If that's something that someone on this show created, and you happen to come across this clip, like, brag about that, because that was such a fun choice. I feel like someone on that team, whether it's an animator, a storyboarder, or a writer, or whatever, like, made a choice. Like, yeah, he's just gonna like escape hatch out of his own hover chair. Then Polaris shows up and saves Xavier with her impulsiveness, because it's the one, besides Bishop, is the other mutant that the Danger Room doesn't have any information on.
Well, it does have some, because the Danger Room has been around for forever. I think it's kind of like the argument of why, like, Taskmaster as a non-MCU character can beat most of the heroes. Taskmaster has such a hard time with Deadpool, because they are so impulsive and they don't follow specific rules and trends and stuff like that. Yeah.
So then there's a big old fight between Polaris and Danger. Jean points out,
you get a big tornado with Jean.
Yeah, just pulling apart. I'm assuming is like what was happening. And then Jean points out, like, we don't have enough power to, like, obliterate Danger. And at this point, this is just, like, kind of cartoon logic, because we don't know what that power level is, like, because it feels like Danger keeps, like, reassembling herself.
Yeah, and they're using the power to do it. I do love that Danger, and again, this is where I say, like, Danger's absorbed so much of Xavier's trauma, because Danger literally screams it's survival of the fittest at this point. So it's like, yeah.
I was gonna say at that point, I was like, does Apocalypse have something to do with this? Because that's a choice.
I think that's the absorption of Xavier's memory so much.
So Xavier tells Polaris to like use her uncontrollability and her impulsiveness, to like go full power.
It's the opposite of the power of friendship. It's fucking go nuts.
Yeah, and she's like, I'll kill everybody here, and then Bishop's like, I'll absorb your spill off, which like, man, I love that old school.
I'll balance you out or something to that extent.
Yeah, which
yeah,
I wonder how that was written out, is like as far as like how it played out when it actually happened, because like that's such like a comic book thing. Is like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds right, and
well, I mean, he absorbs energy, so it's the balance. So,
but I know in writing, I kind of like how that kind of worked, but like when they actually do it, it was like we saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I just don't know what I was picturing before they actually did it, because he's absorbing at height level, so that the people on the ground aren't being affected, is what it looked like when it finally happened.
They did actually allude to it in the Danger Room fight, when it was still in the Danger Room, where she's starting to freak out and the kids are getting like hit, and you actually see like his arm, as he's like telling her to calm down, his arm had like power up like effects on it from him absorbing her slightly to make her chill out. So
and so Xavier's like, do it, and so she overloads, and
Xavier trauma dumps all the important stuff about her dad, like watching Leech die.
Yeah. And so I guess the point of that was for her to see that he had heroic moments, or at least the right intentions most of the time, because she had literally not grown up with him. Like this,
using the monorail as the whip and stuff like that. Totally.
Yeah. This, like, she's learning from her other father what her biological father, like their relationship. She literally has two dads. It's like there's so much like here that's being leaned into, and so she blows away Danger, which is like, once again, it's like anime cartoon logic stuff, because like, she doesn't obliterate her, she just like kind of like EMPs her, and like she just falls out of the sky. I like how Danger's kink is being defeated, because she's like, finally strength, and then she just like goes. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, so she's not even evil, she just like likes the challenge, right?
I think she's amoral. Like, it's not that she's immoral.
Yeah.
I think it is literally, this is a robot reacting to programming, and the sentience doesn't understand morality. It is just, this is what I am built to do. I think that's straight up what it is. I don't think it's any deeper than that.
And then there is this really uncomfortable moment between Xavier and Polaris that, if you don't know that Polaris is Magneto's daughter, it just sounds like two people who had once hooked up with Magneto discussing him. So like, it's like, Magneto, you're Magneto. And then there's this awkward pause, and then Xavier just goes, It's like, what a weird conversation.
The phrasing was, I finally understand him. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't that kind of sounds like the Deathstrike morph thing from last episode? It's like, girl. There's just all these love triangles happening in this. And then Xavier says, like, but I do know now what needs to happen, which is kind of funny to think that this guy who's presumably a billionaire because of everything he's done in the history of X-Men, hadn't thought of this earlier.
Generational wealth billionaire too. Yeah.
Yeah. Hadn't thought of this earlier, but it cuts to him back on, once again, indeterminate amount of months, probably months, back on the shore of Genosha at a press conference, announcing X-Corp, which I'm not familiar with, but I think I've heard you and other friends like mention.
So X-Corp happened in a time period I wasn't reading, so this is actually like, this is where the timeline swaps from comics to the show. I believe X-Corp was before the Joss Whedon run.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like the time frame from it is very different. So
I'm genuinely.
So I actually know nothing about X-Corp other than the name.
Same. So I'm just going to be like seeing what this storyline has, which is, knowing this show is probably going to be a single episode, but like, so, and it's kind of brilliant because it's like, I think Genosha's, I don't know how that works, because like the nation doesn't exist anymore because of the genocide, but like,
it still
also
exists.
It's not. But like as a entity in like the UN or something, right? Like there's no residence anymore.
It's what there are people that did not get off that island. Here's the thing.
Really? Okay, I did.
I
assumed
there's
that it's
definitely
been
people
abandoned.
who didn't abandon. Like you.
Okay, I just assumed everybody was abandoned.
You have a full island. Not everybody left. Some people are going to be like, I'm going to stay. I'm going to rebuild, stuff like that. Is the government formalized and doing everything it needs to be like at the level of like an organized nation? Probably not. But that's where it's like, you don't just take away the charter because a massacre happened, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So like, it seemed like a really clear, like what other billionaires do is like, if the country you're residing in won't allow you to do something, you just go to another one. And that's what he did here. And then Dr. Cooper's like all pissed off about it, but it's like, she said there's going to be
giving it on a stage with the rest of X Factor behind her in front of U.S. press. Yeah.
And I was like, so it sounds like what you're going to do is going to be a war crime. Because what he did, like, he just found, like, a way, like, you know, it's basically like, you don't want me to do it here? I'll just do it over there.
Well, it's kind of the Avengers Sokovia Accord scenario of, like, you can't go do operations on foreign soil. So him establishing X Corp is not breaking the law, but if he goes and does something that crosses jurisdiction they could prove it, that's where they would be like, he broke the international law because he's sending operatives into our location.
So now that just sounds like she's going to, like, fake something.
Or she's just being a bureaucrat and, like, I will play by the letter of the law. I don't get Val Cooper as a false flag person. I get her as the don't give me the opening because I will fucking take it. That is
okay.
I genuinely don't think she's an evil character. I think she's an ends justifies the means character.
Well, that's what I mean, though. I don't necessarily think it's evil, but I also don't know this character as well as you. I could just totally see her be like, we're just have another mutant with a similar power set do something and just say it was them.
And that's what I'm saying is I don't think she goes that far. Unless your theory from this previous season comes true that it's actually been Mystique the entire time.
Oh, right.
Which I still don't believe.
I don't think it's going to be Mystique.
If it was Mystique, then it becomes the false flag and that all makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think she does that because she's so by the book that she's not going to risk doing anything that could push her out of her position. Like she's not going to do shit that if she was under investigation, she could be blamed for. Everything, even with Project Zero Tolerance, was still by the book.
Or I could see them revealing later that, like, sometime after the last time we saw her and before this appearance with X Factor, Mystique did take over.
Then a switch happens. Yes, totally. I agree with that sentiment. Yeah.
Because of the way she said it, you know. No. Then we think the episode's over and we're going back to like random tags.
Well, real quick, we do get at the table, Xavier's like, I know Apocalypse is coming. Cool, thanks. You haven't done shit about Apocalypse for indeterminate amount of months. But you also see Rogue and Nightcrawler in their X-Corp uniforms, too. Mm-hmm. So, just wanted to point out we got new uniforms for those guys, too.
Nice. Yeah, we think it's over, but, you know, in the tradition, I guess, of random tags from, like, last episode, we see Apocalypse, and he just Frankenstein.
The most obvious Watcher in the sky possible.
Oh, that's right. Like, yeah, you mentioned Watcher, and I was like, that's not even subtle. That's just full cape.
Like, you see the cape.
And that's in Athens. And so I guess that's a nexus point or something, right? Like Gambit being resurrected, or something unnatural, like Gambit's not meant to be resurrected. Well, actually, that's interesting. So Watcher's been at both inflection points of Gambit. He's at when Gambit died, and he was being resurrected. There has to be some significance to that. But we watch like Apocalypse essentially just pull Frankenstein and resurrect Gambit. And I guess Evil Gambit is a tarot card reader. And I don't read tarot cards.
I was just going to point out the same thing. In particular, they showed, and I probably fucked up the order on it, Tower, Death, and Lovers. And I don't know enough about tarot to understand the significance of Tower. But obviously, Death is because he's going to be the Horseman Death, and then Lovers is because of the Rogue stuff. But like, I don't know what Tower means. Tower's probably bad, right?
I think, but the order was Death and then Towers and Lovers. Yeah, and
it was Death, Tower, Lovers.
Yeah. But what's funny is, like, I think in Agatha All Along, they explain Tower. And I haven't rewatched to see. But also, just because I have a lot of friends that do tarot card reading, there's a lot of room for interpretation. Yeah. So, like, the same cards will be interpreted differently by different people. Also, like, if they're drawn, like, upside down or right side up or something, you know?
Right.
And so, like, they could probably make that mean whatever they need to for the story. But then we see his face, and it's just like, welcome back, AJ. You know, we know what the next episode's gonna be, or I don't know if the next episode. One of like it's the one after the next one, right?
It's definitely 8 because 8 is Dead Man's Hand. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but like I kind of in my doom scroll caught Rob Liefeld kind of mildly.
Oh no,
spoiling.
I've blocked Rob Liefeld,
so he kind of mildly spoiled. I'm not gonna spoil anything here because he doesn't say enough, but like. I guess he got to see this series in its totality, or someone told him about it or something. Right. Because he says, like, he sees it's him reacting to the X-Force intro. And it's probably the first positive thing I think I've seen of him online, where he's just like, I love this, blah, blah. Of course he'd love it, right? And then he keeps pointing out Cable's getting his...
It's like his character, so he's happy about it.
He keeps saying, like, Cable's finally getting his due time and stuff. And then he pulls up a Cable action figure and is like, you guys wait, like, the last 3 episodes, this is my time, you know, this is like Cable's time. And so I was like, interesting. What do you know about the story that you feel like that, you know? Right. So I don't know. I the only thing I'm assuming is that it's going to be like, the last 3 episodes are going to wrap up the apocalypse thing to some extent. And it obviously is going to have to do with Cable in some way. So that's probably why, maybe that's why he feels about that. But it's like, it's just kind of wild, someone who has nothing to do with the show. Like, he's not credited in the show at all, like consultant producer or anything.
I think he probably falls into the special thanks, because like that's what they do when anybody like created a character. Like we talked about all the mutants in the episode 2 that were like, oh, this is from the Sin of Grace run, this is from this artist and that. Like he's getting in those spots. But yeah, I mean,
well, I haven't seen any like BTS or anything of like him and the Lee Walls just chilling with like Jake, you know, like at Disney. Like it doesn't seem like he was part of like the consulting of the show, but it was just kind of wild. He's so I'm just assuming by what he said that means we're just like finishing out like a Cable apocalypse story from here on out.
Which, I mean, that makes the most sense to me. So
but I don't know. Like the Danger story was kind of cool. I when I was rewatching this morning, I was keeping an eye on the clock because, like you said, we're kind of running tight in time. I was kind of surprised. Like Danger's storyline actually only takes place in a matter of 10 minutes, which is kind of wild. Like that is like a really like speed run use of time.
It's Villain of the Week, which I actually kind of like that we got 2 of those in the middle of the season, and I think the rest of the season is going to be like a tighter. Even though it's not a 3-part episode, I think it's going to feel like a 3-part episode.
When that scene happened with Bishop yelling at the kids for getting one kid hurt in the danger room happen, I thought we were getting another bottle episode. I was like, wow, this is going to be bold if they do 2 bottle episodes. Like I thought at that point they were just going to be in the danger room for the rest of the episode, right? Because I didn't know
like a Motendo vibe episode,
something, And but then like they cut that right off when Storm's like, there's a hole in the ceiling, like. I need to like Punker Ducky has to make that into some sort of like bomb meme, because that's such a great image of Storm just pointing at a hole in the ceiling, you know, like I don't know what that joke is going to be, but so that was fun. Like I said, it's a fun
if she does it.
It's a fun Villain of the Week episode, but I do feel like a lot of the points were that like Gambit coming back thing, and maybe some of the Magneto fans and stuff, because it's just kind of hit the lizard button at the beginning of the episode of like him dying. But it was fun.
I mean, it's also doing like that establishment of like, now there's 3 teams that are all in conflict with each other. I mean, it's kind of like 2 versus 1 plus then villains and stuff like that. So I do think we're going to probably get something. I don't even remember the name of next week's episode off the top of my head, but I do think we are going to get something where it's X-Force versus X-Corp versus X-Factor. And then I think we move into the finale story, like a 2-parter essentially with the gambit of it all.
I think I actually
that's my
have it right
gut
here.
check at least.
The next one is Strange Land, Savage Hearts, or have a Savage Heart.
So Strangeland Savage Heart kind of alludes to Savage Land, obviously, but like, is that Rogue dealing with the loss of Magneto or something like that in the Savage Land? Like,
and Gambit.
There is a shot from one of the trailers that showed the dinosaur. So,
oh, nice. I'm all about dinosaurs. So,
yes.
Yeah, so that's fun.
One of the Marvel superheroes Magic the Gathering cards was Savage Land Dinosaur. It's like a super common or whatever,
awesome.
but that is one of the cards. So
that's fun. Very cool.
Before you wrap us up, one last thing. In 2 episodes, we have a guest joining us. I don't ever announce the guest until we've recorded with them, just because scheduling issues happen. But it's a fun one. Who is a very hardcore X-Men fan. Lots and lots of slabbed Grail comics to give them their credibility. So
that's fun. Very cool. So you have fun at Comic-Con. I'm going to start having this heat wave down here. By the time you guys see this, we'll find out if JC has survived Comic-Con.
AJ posted last night on Threads that was like, I'm very happy to announce that I will be at Comic-Con at my house, hanging out with my dogs. So
nice. That's a good choice.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you have any thoughts, make sure to drop them in the comments for either the YouTube videos, Spotify upload, or official Instagram post about this episode. If you like what you heard, we'd appreciate a rating on the podcast app you're choosing. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube Podcasts, or JC if you're at Comic-Con, but that's already over, so you already ran into him.
Yeah, you've already seen JC if you're going to see JC at Comic-Con.
Yeah. I guess find us at Moby's in August if you're in the LA area.
Yes. Yeah, we will have a more formal post with who our guests are for that episode and everything too.